Is now a good time to invest in the S&P 500 index? That is a question that I got from Alicia Turner, so thank you for that question. And it's a very relevant and appropriate question right now because even good investments, there are bad times to invest in them. What's up, family? It is Caden with Urban Finance. I talk about everything related to financial literacy, investing, and building generational wealth. So if you haven't already, go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified of when I post something new. And if you would like to get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400, feel free to sign up with a stock trading app, Webull, with a link in the description. All right, let's jump in. So let's talk about different aspects of the S&P 500 index that may or may not make it a good investment right now. And so the S&P 500 index is a market capitalization index that tracks the Standard & Poor's 500. And so this index can be in the form of a mutual fund or an ETF. And so, for example, we see here that Apple is at 5% or a little over 5% in this index because it is one of the largest companies out there right now. So the same thing for Microsoft. And so the bigger the company, the more percentage of the ETF or mutual fund it will make up. And so right here we see the top 10 companies are some of the biggest companies right now on the US stock exchange. So different companies or brokers sell these funds that track the S&P 500 index. And so, for example, Vanguard is one company that I currently own. And so I have both a mutual fund with Vanguard and an ETF that I hold, which is VOO with Vanguard. The mutual fund is, I believe, VFIAX. I'll put it on the screen for you. Same thing, Spider has the S&P 500 index fund called SPY. And so the level of appreciation or capital gains on these funds are usually the same. There are usually some differences. So for example, Vanguard's S&P 500 index fund, the expense ratio is very low at 0.04. Another company may have the same grouping of stocks that are even selling at a lower price, 0.002 for expense ratio for Charles Schwab. One of the things that I do like about Charles Schwab S&P 500 index fund is that there's no minimum in order to invest in it. So Vanguard, as we can see here, the minimum is $3,000 to invest in it, while on Charles Schwab, you can put as little as $1 into it. For Vanguard, their ETF, you have to invest as minimally that $300 that it costs. And so those are some of the minor differences between S&P 500 indexes, but for the most part, they are tracking the same index. So let's get to the question. Is now a good time to invest in the S&P 500 index? That depends on your goals and investment strategies. For example, if you are dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500 index, now is a good time to invest in the S&P 500 index. Dollar cost averaging is an investment strategy in which an investor divides up the total amount to be invested across periodic purchases of a target asset in an effort to reduce the impact of volatility on the overall purchase. The purchases occur regardless of the asset's price and at a regular interval. So for example, you may purchase every time you get a paycheck. In effect, this strategy removes much of the detailed work of attempting to time the market in order to make purchases of equities at the best price. Dollar cost averaging is known as the constant dollar plan. So if you're planning to dollar cost average into the S&P 500 index, now is certainly a good time to get invested in it. And so, but if you want to put a lump sum into the S&P 500 index, then you have to determine the length you plan to leave that money in there for. Some experts are saying that the S&P 500 index may end the year at a lower price than it currently is. And so if your time horizon is only 6 months, you may not want to invest in the S&P 500 index now. That's when adding a lump sum. But if your time horizon is longer than 6 months, let's say 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, now even with a lump sum, investing in the S&P 500 index may be appropriate for you. And none of this is financial advice. This is generally when may be a good time or may not be a good time to invest based on your goals. So maybe 1 year investments, 6 months investments, 5 years investments, and the strategies that you're using, dollar cost averaging, for instance. I would say personally, I invest thousands of dollars using a dollar cost averaging strategy every month into the S&P 500 index, and I do not care what the price is next month or 2 months from now, because I am thinking several years out. And so if you're like me, looking for a good long-term investment both for in retirement and outside of retirement, then the S&P 500 index is certainly a good place to invest right now, especially during market volatility. So times like right now, where you see the market is sometimes shooting up and hitting lows, and more probably lows than high within the last 3 to 4 months, then now is a really good time to invest into the S&P 500 index fund, but using a dollar cost averaging strategy. So I hope you found this video to be helpful. Thank you again, Alicia, for the question. If anyone else have any questions of when may be a good time to invest in a particular stock or index, just let me know in the comment section. If you have any questions at all, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and I'll try to add it to my next video. But if you haven't already, go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified of when I post something new. And like I always say, even in the midst of these crazy times, God bless you, and remember to live your best life. Also, feel free to check out this video I did about how much dividends the S&P 500 index fund actually pays. And so many of us know the reason why we invest in the S&P 500 index is because of the capital gain. But what some people don't realize, it actually pays a dividend. And if you put enough money in there, investing over a long period of time, that dividend can be substantial over a long period of time. So go check out that video on how to get $1,000 invested in the S&P 500 index. And I'll see you in the next video.